Powerful landing of Russian paratroopers in Kherson. The Russian army prepares for a breakthrough to Mykolaiv and Odesa. Greetings, friends. Today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine as of December 24, 2024. Before we begin, I would sincerely ask you to subscribe to the channel. Your subscription supports the channel's growth. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed. Now let's move on to the front lines. We'll start with the Kursk salient, where the armed forces of the Russian Federation are advancing toward the settlement of Mykolaiv. Over the past day, no storming actions were reported. However, Russian units managed to close the distance to two villages, Mykolaiv and nearby areas. The first buildings are already visible from the forest belts located to the northwest. Currently, the Russian army is focused on a straightforward task. Drones are actively circling over the area in large numbers to identify Ukrainian armed forces positions and eliminate them upon detection. In these video frames, we see a Russian drone flying over the territories of Mykolaiv and Mykolaiv during reconnaissance. It detected a vehicle equipped with electronic warfare systems, which was promptly destroyed. On the Kursk front, the Russian army widely employs fiber-optic drones. At present, the Ukrainian armed forces have no countermeasures against them. Numerous videos show drone strikes on Ukrainian positions. This is preparatory work. The village of Mykolaiv and its surroundings have remained largely untouched by combat, as shown by drone footage, suggesting significant Ukrainian positions and possibly a large garrison. Despite the pause in advancing on Mykolaiv due to ongoing preparations, two villages, Leonidova and Alexandria, currently under Ukrainian control, appear to be under operational encirclement. It seems likely that these two villages will soon become the primary focus of Russian efforts. Russian units are also attempting to advance from Zeleny Shliak towards Sverdlikov. This is evidenced by footage released by the 36th Marine Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, showing Ukrainian drones targeting columns of Russian equipment moving towards Sverdlikov and Lebedevka. While no definitive footage exists to adjust the maps yet, we expect more evidence to emerge soon, allowing updates to the map. Further, interesting footage has surfaced from the Gogolevka area. It shows Russian FPV drones in action. These are the first such recordings since the formation of the Sudzha salient, with FPV drones now targeting the main supply route between Yenakiev, Sumy Oblast, and Sudzha, Kursk Oblast. This suggests that the supply route for the Sudzha grouping of the Ukrainian armed forces is under significant Russian drone control, likely leading to increasing losses on the Ukrainian side over time. Next, we move to the Kupiansk front, where the Russian armed forces continue to expand their control over the settlement of Dvorishna. Russian cartographic services highlight progress, with several additional buildings and streets in the southern and central parts of the settlement coming under Russian control. Progress here is steady. The map shows gains almost daily in favor of the Russian armed forces. As of December 21st, the map reflected these changes, and by December 24th, Russian units controlled approximately 30 to 35% of the settlement. While the advance is not measured in hundreds of kilometers, progress is steady. Moving toward the central Kupiansk front, footage released by the Ukrainian side confirms that the settlement of Zaharizova is already well behind Russian assault units. Video evidence shows the 77th Airmobile Brigade targeting Russian forward positions with FPV drones, including combat footage and prisoner captures. These videos confirm that Russian forces are gradually advancing southward, and Zaharizova appears to be fully under Russian control. On the Siversk front, the situation remains unchanged. Footage shows artillery and tank operations from concealed positions. Since attempted assaults on December 12th to 14th, no significant updates have been reported. At present, the Siversk front remains the most enigmatic, and there seems to be no clear strategy for breaking through the defenses of Siversk, particularly from the perspective of the Russian Federation. Next, we move toward Chasiv Yar. Today, information previously reported yesterday by Denis Pushilin has been confirmed. The northern part of Chasiv Yar, specifically the Pivnichny micro-district, has come under full control of Russian units. Today, several cartographic services updated their maps accordingly. While the northern quarter's status was uncertain yesterday, it is now marked as under Russian control. We now move to the Toretsk direction, where perhaps the most significant and interesting news has emerged. Specifically, during assault operations, the Russian armed forces broke through the Ukrainian defenses and reached the central part of the settlement of Sherbinovka. There is substantial video evidence showing another armored column of the Russian armed forces advancing north along the railway and the Kryvyi Torets River. Ukrainian FPV operators tried to halt the column, damaging some equipment, though the majority appears to have reached their designated positions. One episode of drone strikes occurred at this location. Based on this footage, most cartographic services updated their maps, showing new territorial gains. It's worth noting that all cartographic services uniformly indicate that the fortified area, a small pocket between the Zabalki Quarter, Nelyapovka and Shcherbinovka, remains under full control of Ukrainian forces. However, based on objective control data reviewed earlier, it appears Ukrainian forces in this pocket are now operationally encircled. It's likely that between December 24th and 25th, the Ukrainian armed forces will attempt to break out of the encirclement to preserve personnel. They are expected to move toward the northern part of Toretsk, as all roads in Shcherbinovka are under Russian control. Next, we move to the Pokrovsky direction, which has also yielded interesting updates. Of note is the resurgence of the pro-Ukrainian cartographic service Deep State, which resumed operations after several days of inactivity. Over the past 3 or 4 days, virtually no updates had been published. Yesterday, a controversy emerged regarding Ukrainian commander Syrsky, who allegedly launched a new counteroffensive aimed at stabilizing the front lines, at least in online narratives. However, even on this section of the front, Syrsky appears to have failed. Today, Deep State resumed posting significant updates from all directions, with numerous map updates reflecting recent territorial changes. Today, Deep State confirmed that Russian units have broken through to the settlement of Volkova. It also confirmed their presence in the southern part of Piszczyn, where fighting is ongoing around a farmstead. The map has been updated to reflect these changes. According to Deep State, Russian forces have broken through Ukrainian defenses and now control 95% of Olenivka, 25% of Ukrainka, and approximately 5% of Nova Yelizavetivka. Based on this data and recent updates, it seems the next Russian breakthrough will likely occur westward, toward the border between Donetsk and Dnipropetrovsk regions. This area is expected to be the focus of late December and early January military campaigns. Additionally, Deep State updated the map to reflect Russian control over a portion of the territory north of the settlement of Star Turney, including several forested strips and a road between Sontsevka and Star Turney. However, this information lacks objective control footage. Speaking of objective control footage, the Russian army appears to be preparing for another breakthrough west of the settlement of Dalnai toward Dakhnoye, bypassing Ukrainian defensive lines along the Sukaya Yal River and attempting to encircle the Kurakovska power station. Along this axis, Russian drones are actively identifying Ukrainian forward positions and striking them upon detection. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian side is attempting to slow the Russian advance by targeting advancing columns of Russian equipment and forward positions. A pitched battle is underway here, as the Ukrainian side clearly understands that if Russian units manage to break through west of Dalnay and reach the outskirts of Dakhnoye, it would spell a catastrophic outcome. Finally, we move to the Constantinople direction, where Russian FABs are operating to gradually prepare the Andriivka fortified area. It appears that the start of combat operations for this fortified zone is still 2 to 3 weeks away, as current efforts focus on clearing Velika Novoselivka. Once again, there is a large amount of objective control footage and numerous map updates, including those from pro-Ukrainian and neutral cartographic services. To summarize everything discussed over the past 24 hours regarding this direction, the main point of contention has been whether or not there was an encirclement near Mykolaiv. Mykolaiv has been completely cleared, with the Russian Federation flag raised, and all sources confirm the Russian army's breakthrough to Highway 0510 and its near-total control of the road. The Ukrainian armed forces have lost all viable supply routes for their grouping in Velika Novoselivka via normal roads or established supply routes, leaving only fields and rivers as options. Even in such conditions, the UAF may still hold their defenses in Velika Novoselivka for a considerable period. but all military experts unanimously agree that sooner or later the UAF will be forced to retreat due to the dire situation. If the Russian army advances another kilometer north of Highway 0510 or a kilometer west of Novi Komar, the story of Velika Novoselivka will effectively end before it even fully begins. Zaporizhzhia direction. Over the past day, there have been no changes or offensive attempts from either the Russian or Ukrainian sides. Kherson direction. This area is more active than ever. In the past 24 hours, a significant amount of objective control footage has been published, including strikes by Russian LMUR missiles and FAB air-dropped bombs near Mykolaiv. Over the past week, there has been ongoing speculation about a potential Russian army offensive in Kherson, targeting the northern part of the Kherson region and the city itself. What we see on our screens now may be the preparation of a staging area for a potential landing operation. However, as far as these strikes are concerned, there's nothing fundamentally new compared to what was happening last summer. Since the start of 2024, the Russian army has consistently targeted the Ukrainian-controlled side of Kherson with similar frequency. Previously, this activity was linked to the UAF's foothold in areas like Krinky, Kozatsky Laheri, and Korsunka. Now, these footholds no longer exist, but the activity has resumed. This could indicate preparations for something significant, though it is still difficult to say what this will lead to in the future. And with that, dear friends, we conclude for now.